Welcome back to the Shacknews Awards. We are about to deliberate on what I consider a very, very special award. It's the Do It for Shacknews Award. You may be wondering, what the heck is a Do It for Shacknews Award? What does it mean? It means a couple of things. We give this award out to companies or people or games that do something that is in the spirit of our team here, something that we like to see. We've given it to people in the music industry in the past. Mark Rebier, who was in the midst of his meteoric rise to becoming Loop Daddy and now touring the world. He won this award back in 2019. We've given it to Panic Button in the past for porting over Doom 2016 and Rocket League to the Nintendo Switch. We've given it to Night Dive Studios as recently as last year for their amazing Quake 2 remaster and all the other awesome work they've done on porting games and really preserving some of the most unique FPS games throughout history. So this is an award that can go to an individual, it can go to a company, it can go to a game, but it's about the spirit of doing something awesome, taking a risk, or maybe just kind of literally doing it for Shacknews, like giving us an opportunity to talk to you in an interview, or giving us an exclusive, or just even something as simple as being positive and sharing our content. I think we've given to community members in the past for their work streaming for the site. So yeah, this can go anywhere. And we like to kind of stack this category with a lot of nominees because all these people did do it for Shacknews this year, but only one of them did it to the fullest extent. So here are the nominees, and then we'll get to voting. The Legend of Zelda Symphony Orchestra, Zur, Maximilian Dude, Brandon Cole, Steve Tendo of the Steve Tendo Show on the Shacknews Twitch channel, Nate Perkypile, GSC Game World, the developers of Stalker 2, JSR and Peanut Butter the Dog, Harada and Murray from Bandai Namco and Tekken, the EA Sports College Football 25 devs, Kendrick Lamar, and Jonathan Rush from the Fallout 76 team. So I can get into I'll get into why I nominated the Zelda Orchestra. Earlier this year, Nintendo had an event planned in Tokyo called Nintendo Live. And because the world is getting increasingly dangerous and scary and stupid, someone called a bomb threat and threatened violence at the Zelda concert and the Nintendo Live event in Tokyo. In Tokyo, yes, they've had terrorist attacks in the past. Tokyo's a pretty safe place. They don't really have the assault weapons issue that America has. But they also take these things very seriously, and Nintendo did the right thing here in canceling the live event. But because the Zelda Orchestra wanted to do it for Shacknews, deep down in their hearts, they knew that the people needed to hear this concert. They performed it for YouTube in front of an empty hall. And it's one of the best musical performances of video game music you'll ever see. So I just wanted to commend Nintendo for doing that, not letting a terrorist act stop them from spreading this amazing thing. So credit to Nintendo for doing it, but credit to those musicians for getting up on stage in front of no one and absolutely crushing it. It is 28 minutes of outstanding music arranged masterfully. And it's a celebration of the Zelda franchise, which has iconic music in 8-bit era, in 16-bit era, in the 64 era, obviously with Ocarina of Time. But then again, even Skyward Sword or Twilight Princess, or obviously Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom have their own things going on. It was an outstanding performance, and I think they deserve the nomination for that very reason. Next up is Xur from Destiny 2. And people are like, why the hell are you nominating Xur 10 years into this franchise's existence? Well, I'll tell you why. Each week, I make a stupid vertical video about where Xur is located and what Xur is selling. And earlier this year, during the final shape, they changed how that worked entirely. Xur no longer moves around. Xur is located in the same place every week. So it's more like a thank you to Xur for all of those views that we got from such a stupid idea. But also, we pivoted. So it used to be where does Xur at, and we would put a DMX song, usually where the hood at underneath. And it shifted from where is Xur to what is Xur selling. So now it's Xur gonna give it to you, which is also a DMX song. So it's been this great way for us to honor Xur, Destiny, reach out to our community, and celebrate DMX's amazing musical catalog. So yeah, shout out to Xur for creating what was like, I would say it's our longest running vertical video series at this point. We're approaching, I think, 2 years of doing it. And we just don't know how much longer Xur is going to be around. And we wanted to tip our fedoras to him. Next up is Maximilian Dude. Greg, maybe you can provide some color here. You caught up with Maximilian Dude at the summer of Jeff, right, in Los Angeles?
Yeah, and I interviewed him about his Marvel vs. Capcom project.
And it was
project.
You guys talked about MVC Infinite also in that conversation, I believe.
Yeah, that was the focus.
It's always great. It's always great to catch up with him, and we appreciate when people like that will take the time to talk to us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if you have anything else to say about that.
No, just a cool interview. Just a cool interview with lots of cool information. No, not many people interview people like that. It's usually just little tweets or like little self interviews. So it's just kind of cool to do that. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And then our next nominee, this is a posthumous nomination. We lost Brandon Cole. So it was earlier this year, right? I want to say it was kind of like the middle of the year. He was an accessibility advocate in the gaming space, and I want to say he was involved with I might be wrong here.
Did Forza Mortal Kombat 1?
Yeah, but also he's a blind, he's a visually impaired advocate.
Yeah.
So he was pushing game companies to work in that specific space. He had done a lot, like you said, he'd done a lot of work with Microsoft and PlayStation, Donovan. But yeah, he one of his more recent blog posts, he said, "I'm living my dream," which was to help other people gain accessibility to video games. That's a huge thing for us. We want more people to be able to play whatever games, however the hell they want to play them. And Brandon did that. He pushed that agenda forward. And it's at a time where there's still a lot of nasty pushback online to these things, and a lot of hatred that disabled gamers will run into. And yeah, I just think it takes a lot of courage to do this kind of stuff, and just a lot of hard work. And we honor Brandon with this nomination at the very least. Our next nominee is literally in this Discord with us right now, you guys. And I believe, Steve, you nominated yourself at the beginning of episode 500 of the Steve Tendo Show.
Well, all right. I'll set a little backstory for it. First off, I appreciate being nominated at all with all the stacked the stack category. There are a lot of worthy nominees. I believe what I did was I did do it I nominated myself in one of the episodes. I believe it stems back from a year ago at these very deliberations where I said if I had gotten to 500 episodes, I was going to nominate myself, jokingly, air quote, nominate myself as a do it for Shack News, because then you never know where the show's going to go. You never know if it's going to get canceled tomorrow or something's going to happen where we don't know what's going to happen.
Sure.
So that's where it stems from. Probably never thinking, oh yeah, we'll make 500. We'll throw him in there. We'll add him as a nominee. But we're up to 526 episodes right now. We have like a cult following on the Shack channel, where we have loyalty. We have people pop in for the first time. All kinds of stuff, playing all kinds of weirdo games. I've played games on the show for the first time, like Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy VII. I'm playing Skyward Sword right now, and it's fun to see who pops in and to give people maybe like a couple hours out of their day to just screw around and see how good or bad I am at a game.
So, Steve, you and I, we've been around here for basically this whole time, the last decade together. And I can say this, no other show in the history of this company has ever hit 500 episodes. So I really do think that is why you are here today, nominated for this. Is like, that's a lot of doing it for Shack News right there, guys. And
that was the main reason why I decided to do it. If I hit I feel like 500 is a huge deal, and I felt like it should be showing off a little bit.
Yeah, at the very least, with a nomination, because like you said,
Exactly.
you're in a very stacked category with a lot of people, and I mean this honestly. It sounds silly or whatever, but like everyone nominated in this category, we really appreciate, and we think you did something awesome this year. Which leads us to our next nominee, Nate Perkypile. Nate shipped the Axis Unseen this year. Nate is a Shacker. He's been very generous with his time. He's a single dev with like one other person kind of working in support to give us time, participating in Shacknews E4 interviews or, letting us have early access to this game or whatever. We do love to celebrate when our community members do cool stuff like this. And we tend to be a soundboard for these places where, we want the spirit of doing it for Shack News. We want these people to succeed. And it really does feel like Nate has done something huge here this year with the Axis Unseen, which is a very fun game and everyone should try out. I don't know if this is a hard one. Like, this is not competitive suffering. This is not like a story of like, hey, these people deserve this more than others, but it's pretty hard to ship a game when you're in the middle of a war-torn country. And GSC Game World did that this year with Stalker 2. And just the very act of shipping this game deserves to be nominated. Like, what they went through these last 3+ years, we'll never be able to fully understand. But we appreciate what they've done, and we have to tell them that they did it for Shack News. This is a huge feat that they accomplished this year. And I know we're going to bring them up in other categories as well during these awards. But yeah, that's what doing it for Shack News looks like. And can't applaud them enough. And the game's fun. Like, forget just, hey, you shipped a game. You shipped a game and it's fun and it's winning awards, and that's just a hell of a story right there. I don't know if anyone else wants to chime in on them, but
I mean, they made a great game, and it's like you said, it's a good game. Bill has always been beating the drum for it since the moment he got his hands on it, and I believe on their YouTube channel they've even got like dev diaries where they talk about developing during the war, how it impacted them and their team very profoundly. So, more than deserving.
This is a bit of a left turn because I'm going from like a very serious story to a story about a dog at a game, a speed run event.
Nature of the award. That is the nature of this award.
It is the nature of this award. But like, Peanut Butter the dog is not here if Peanut Butter the dog doesn't win the game and the speed run via a walk-off home run by Ken Griffey Jr. I can't tell you. I've never seen a Games Done Quick auditorium more hyped than in that moment. And we're talking about a dog here. A dog had to behave long enough to hit the button at the right time. And obviously, JSR built this contraption for the dog to hit the paw on different buttons and stuff. But for that dog to hit a walk-off home run at Games Done Quick, I don't know if we'll ever see anything like that again there. And they already came out and said they're not going to be at the next Games Done Quick. Because how do you top that? Like we've seen the dog play Gyromite before, and that's fine. But seeing this dog hit a walk, and David, I think you have some warm and fuzzy feelings about Ken Griffey's baseball, right? Like that was like that's like one of those iconic SNES sports games. To see a golden retriever hit a walk-off home run in that, when people are going nuts in the auditorium, like the calm demeanor of that dog in that environment, very impressive. And yes, another example of what it means to do it for Shacknews, which, yes, you could ship a game in a war-torn country, or you could be a golden retriever hitting a home run in an SNES game. That's how wide of a net this award casts, but both of those are worthy of this nomination.
Ain't no rule says a dog can't speedrun video games.
Yeah, dude, not at all. And if you haven't, go back and watch it. It's an electrifying moment in speedrunning history. And it really felt like Games Done Quick got their groove back this year. Like the pandemic really kind of shook their model for how they operated. And I think they've found like a new way forward. And this is one of those examples. But yeah, you want to talk? We kind of mentioned this with Nate, but I don't know, like 10 years ago, and I'll keep saying this because I guess it's a meaningful anniversary for me. But like to be here for a decade and to know where we were at when I got here, when it came to getting access to interviews and stuff, to go from where we were to now having interviews with Harada about Tekken, that's just one of those moments where I'm like, wow, this brand is in a different place. You know, when you keep your head down and you just work every day, you don't notice things, but occasionally you look up and you're like, what? And TJ, I know that you're kind of on the forefront of this for us this year with the FGC coverage.
Yes. And man, Harada and Murray are just fun to talk to. They have such a good balance of being able to have fun with this IP that they've worked on for so long already and have gotten no lack of stress from fans that always want something new and always want something more and always want something less. Buff this character, nerf this character, put this one in the game. And to have the patience to put up with that for 8 core games and then still be pretty into what you're doing and be able to be jocular and enjoy the content with the fans, those guys are amazing at what they do. And there's of course a lot of people behind them that are making the game and pouring their hearts into it. But I still don't think that you get Tekken to the level it is today as one of the foremost fighting game names in the genre without Harada and Murray putting in that work for so many years.
And your point that he is connected to the community. He is paying attention to what they're saying. He's listening, and Michael's listening, right? And that they actually take feedback. It's not that he actually has come out and said, please don't specifically recommend a character to me because it creates problems. Like he's super transparent about how the process works for bringing a DLC character in or something. Like he actually addressed the Waffle House stuff this year in a logical way instead of just being like, this is a meme, I'm going to ignore it. No, he like engages with the community and we're part of that community and they've engaged with us and we really appreciate that. It's a big deal for us to be able to chat with someone of that ilk.
How many game directors do you know that when you suggest a certain type of content to them, they're just like, let me take you inside baseball as to how that could or could not happen for like an entire thread of like information.
Yeah,
That's erotic.
it's his transparency and his candor that I think I really appreciate the most. And like you said, he cares. Like when he got beat at Evo in that friendly, and then he turned around and he put his favorite character back in the game. Like he cares. Like you can tell he loves his game. And I think that's cool because that's not true of everyone. Like you said, there's some very jaded people in this industry. He's not one of them, and it shows in the work.
Yeah.
Very solid nominee, and we're just really appreciative just of Bandai Namco and the relationship we built with them. This reminds me of the F099 devs being nominated last year for this. We're nominating the EA Sports College Football 25 devs because it's been 10 years since we had a new NCAA football game. And it could have sucked. It could have just been a Madden clone and throw some college jerseys on the models or whatever. No. They built a new game here. And it's great.
Yeah.
Donovan, you're nodding. I know you reviewed the game for us. You want to tell the folks at home why they did it for Shacknews?
Yeah, this is great, and it's a game that had a lot of hype to live up to because EA announced that they were bringing back this series going on, 3 years ago? That was so long ago when they posted that viral tweet where they were like, we know you guys have been waiting, it's finally happening, college football's returning. And it was just silent for years. And like once a year, we get like an interview soundbite where a game director would be like, "Yep, we're just hard at work. Well, sure we have." And it was very easy to be pessimistic over the last couple of years. Like, yeah, okay, it'll come out. It'll be Madden with college football skins, and it'll sell X amount of copies. Then we'll all move on with our lives. But I think for it to come out and have the hype cycle it did, and still hit and be good and exciting and fun, and kind of capture the sports gaming zeitgeist, which that does not happen these days. We are far from the heyday of sports video games. So to hit like it did, I think it's just a testament to the work that those developers did. And I loved seeing the development videos they were putting out in the months leading up to release, where they were showing like, hey, we are like on these campuses, we're scanning mascots into the game, we're looking at traditions, just the levels that they went to make this game feel authentic
like,
to the college
The
experience.
deep dives that they did into like gameplay mechanics, like here's what we did to revamp rushing, here's what we did on passing, here's what we did with how crowd noise is going to affect you. Like they really went in depth explaining every aspect of what they were doing and how they were trying to do right by the franchise. And left out the best part of Dynasty mode. But, there's always next year. Hopefully, right? Like that's the thing now. Like maybe this is an annual franchise now. And my hope is that it's so good that there are mechanics in it that they will bring to Madden to improve Madden. Because it feels like they're going to experiment with this franchise and then they'll bring the best practices over to Madden. Because that's what it used to be back in the day. Like in the 2010s, the college football game, they would experiment with a little bit more mechanically. So that's it, and then we haven't even talked about like the presentation, but it's the best looking sports video game menu ever. Like,
it's very well designed.
So a worthy nomination. Like I said, just finally doing the thing. They finally did the thing that we all wanted. They did it, and it turned out great. We'll let you know if we don't like a football video game here at Shacknews. We have no problem telling you that we don't like your football video game. So when we're saying, hey, this is a 9 out of 10, or I think we gave it a 9, right, Tom? Or 8?
I give it an
8. Sorry. An 8 is a very high score for a sports video game. When we give you an 8 and we're like, here's what you need to do to get a 9 or a 10 out of this. But it's great. I'm very happy that we have a good football game to play. At the same time, it's lacking in some things that I would like to see. I'd like to see it come to PC. Hopefully the success of this year leads to that. Because then if we get it on PC, we can get mods. And then we may finally get the game I want. So this is a bit of a weird nomination. but it's not like we haven't nominated musicians before. But usually the musicians that we nominate actually performed at a Shacknews event. I can't afford Kendrick Lamar live, guys. Sorry, he got the Super Bowl outbid me. But I wanted to nominate Kendrick Lamar for the Do It for Shacknews Award, not because he buried Drake repeatedly all year. That's not why. Because that's two millionaires fighting. Why are we going to give an award to two millionaires fighting? But what Kendrick Lamar has done to provide like a mission of bringing peace to Los Angeles among the different gangs, but also providing like positive images of black families and black women and standing up for the rights of people. Also pointing out the vast amount of corruption that does exist in the music industry at the same time. Yeah, it's hard not to watch him and say, yeah, keep doing it, man. The pop out concert, seeing all those people on stage with him, and then reading the stats that there were no violent crimes in like South Central LA like that whole week. I think it's astonishing what he's doing, and I really look forward to what that halftime show at the Super Bowl is going to be. Also, the messaging that he has in that new music video, Squabble Up. There's a ton of positive imagery in there, and it's like a celebration of hip hop culture throughout decades. And not just hip hop culture. He has some like really old references in there. But yeah, I think Kendrick Lamar, just mainly for that mission of bringing peace to Los Angeles, but also just it's kind of extension of what Cat Williams started this year, which is like, if you're a liar and a cheat and a crook and a bad person, you're on notice this year. Like, you may get away with something this year, you may get away with something next year, but eventually karma's going to show up. And sometimes it shows up in the form of Kendrick Lamar, and sometimes it just shows up in an FBI raid in your house. But we'll see what happens. It's been a wild year in the hip hop industry in general. And then just kind of as an aside, we've gotten a lot of great music from this guy. He's dropped 17 tracks this year, and they're outstanding.
Plus the album, no one had any idea when it was dropping. And Bop, it was just out.
GNX, man, it's an outstanding album with I mentioned Reincarnated. Like, he literally says he's trying to bring peace to LA in that song. He talks about, if you look at the music video for Not Like Us, his reply, and this is directly a reply to Drake, where Drake in Family Matters said that he beat his wife or something, to reply, and it's a video of him and his family all dancing in the living room. I think he's done a good job of trying to be like, he's taking a negative and he's trying to turn it into a positive. And I think there's something really nice about that, outside of everything else that's going on. But yeah, that album is outstanding, Denny. Oh my God. And a complete surprise too. I don't know, I dropped it in the live stream channel. There's a chance he's going to drop another album before the end of the year.
Yeah. There's definitely some hints to there being potential double album situation, considering some of the references in the video.
And the video is not the same mix. It's a different version of the same song that's on the album. So I think that's kind of interesting too. We'll have to wait and see. And then last but not least, Jonathan Rush from the Fallout 76 team. TJ's just minding his own business at QuakeCon. He's just kind of sitting there. And Jonathan walks up to him. You literally have your QuakeCon mug. Jonathan walks up to him and says, "Hey, TJ, let's chat about Fallout 76.
Yeah, it was like, I was sitting there waiting for a keynote. And mind you, like, nothing against anyone, but like, QuakeCon was kind of chaotic. I had to do a lot of arranging interviews and appointments like on the ground there, which usually isn't the case. And I did not have an interview with Fallout 76 when I walked into QuakeCon. I was sitting at one of the keynotes waiting for it to start and kind of like dazed because I'd woken up at like 6 a.m. that morning to be there. And as I'm like resting my eyes for a second, I hear, "Hey, how's it going?" and it's John Rush walking up to me with his kid, and he was like, "How's it going, man? I really like that interview you did with us last time." I was like, "Hey, are you doing anything out here?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm showing off new content." I was like, "Do you want to talk about it?" And he's like, "Yes, let's do that." And the dude literally arranged an interview with us on the spot.
Quite literally doing it for Shack News. You can't be more literally doing it for Shack News than that. So
I
I
can't
hope
believe
those 12 nominees encapsulate what this award means.
absolutely. Like, I don't expect people to go and make my job easier for me like that, let alone like the director of a game with obviously plenty to do. Andy's got his kid there because it's QuakeCon and they're just chilling on some level. So that was amazing. I mean, I can't
Yeah.
thank him enough.
And that's just the magic of QuakeCon, baby. It's a magical place, man. I'm so happy it's still around. Even though I didn't get to go there this year, it's still, there's two things that happen every year that are my favorite events. It's Evo and it's QuakeCon. Those are both, the energy in those places is different than most other gaming events you'll go to in a year. But yeah, those are the nominees. So now we vote. Going to start with, let's see. Oh, Denny.
Oh, all the nominees are pretty sweet.
Mhm.
Sure. Feel like my heart is pulled a few different places because it felt really really good playing college football for the first time in forever. Definitely enjoyed that action.
Mhm.
You also got Harada and Murray in here. You shipped an amazing game in a way that I feel like is one of the best fighting games in several years.
Yeah, maybe ever. It's definitely the best. I think it's the best Tekken game. I know Tekken 7 is like outstanding and had a great run, but Tekken 8's something else.
Yeah, and the same with the Zelda Orchestra, and of course the one and only Steve Tendo in here.
Mhm.
You know, he's in the Discord right now. I'm expecting like a penguin accent to go in. With some mobsters to come up behind me. And be like, I'm leaning. I as a content creator know how hard it is to get to 500 episodes of anything.
Mhm.
Especially when it comes to situations where you're building the community as well. And that itself is a lot of work on that end for yourself and for Shacknews as a whole. And that kind of dedication and showing up, day in, day out. I really appreciate that.
Oh yeah,
And I think that's definitely the definition of doing it for Shacknews. You got my vote.
nice. There's one for Steve Tendo. Greg.
I mean, every week on Friday, I do all the VOD stuff, and every single time I click on Steve's VODs, I'm lipping, "Hello, everybody! Welcome to the show."
Hello, everybody.
That's literally what I do now, and I like it. So I'm gonna vote for Steve Tendo.
Nice. TJ.
Steve was the North Star on which I like studied as I was starting up my own streaming content at Shacknews. So like he's the blueprint. I hope to get to 500 myself someday, and I can't say it. I have nothing but respect for everything he does.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Let's see. Ozzy. Does Ozzy have a vote here? Ozzy voted for JSR and Peanut Butter the dog.
Nice.
No sweep. No.
Sorry.
No, Ozzy. Bad Ozzy. I'll discipline him later today.
Sorry, Peanut Butter the dog. Sam. Sorry, I'm just getting our Sam's first vote. He did ranked choice voting. Was for Nate Perkypile. Steve, are you voting for Steve Tendo?
Steve.
Yeah, I think I got to show that Steve Tendo guy some love. He's one of those guys that I really respect. And if I wasn't nominated, I would have voted for Peanut Butter the dog if I was
Okay.
not nominated because I
'Cause-
love that dog.
And you also probably love Ken Griffey's baseball. That game's great. David.
It's the Super Steve Tendo Super Show.
Okay. Donovan.
I want to throw a vote to Nate Perkypile along with Sam. I think it was really cool to follow his dev journey over the last couple years, actually shipping his video game, and he's always cool with us, so I appreciate that.
Nice. Man. Well, I don't think my vote really matters, but I think it does matter in a way. Let's see.
In a way, we all done it for Shack News. The true award is friendship.
I mean, like, I'm still waiting to get nominated for this category. I think it's kind of messed up. Steve got a nomination. I didn't. But, you know,
The
whatever.
real doing it for Shack
Oh,
News was inside of us all along.
Maybe like I don't know. Maybe it'll be like Lola or something. I have to die before I get nominated for this. But anyway,
I hope
shout
you're
out to
not
Lola.
dead by the time you get nominated. I'd be like,
That's all I'm saying, man. It's been a while. Still waiting for the nom. Is all I'm saying.
Still waiting
It's
for
like
the
you know, I'm like Waluigi, just waiting to get invited to Smash.
well,
We'll
make a
do
claim
your
about it
file
right.
next
Make
year.
a claim about it right now. Say you want to be nominated right now,
keeping-
and then we'll
keeping
throw
the-
you in like I
The
did.
trend going.
I don't.
You're like Morgan Freeman in Shawshank Redemption, just denied. Try again next year. Just denied.
At least I'm not like
Nope.
Asif was here next to the Brooks
no,
thing.
no.
No, I'm voting for Steve. Steve, I really appreciate your show. I don't always get to watch it live on Twitch, but when I can, I'll watch it on YouTube. So it also depends on what game you're playing. Like sometimes I'm very into like, I don't know, like whatever you're playing through, be it like a Dragon Quest game or whatever, depending on what you're picking. I do think you have excellent taste in the games that you choose.
Except for Skyward Sword.
Even that though, David, he's playing it. He's playing it on Switch, so it's slightly better, I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
Um,
I agree. It's not it's an acquired taste.
No doubt. And I just want to say, Bill did vote for Steve Tendo with his absentee
there you
ballot. So yeah, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 votes. Congratulations, Steve, and the Steve Tendo Show. You have won the Do It for Shacknews Award 2024.
Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday to ya. My name is Steve. To another outstanding episode of the Steve Tendo Show, episode 524 on the program. Tonight, we're continuing